10 rounds down into America's Premier Off-Road Racing Championship, and it looks like Walker Fowler is on his way to claiming championship number 7 in GNCC Racing. He's also looking at win number 67, which would tie Bill Balance. Can he make it happen, or will Hunter Hart step up to the plate once again and steal all the thunder? GNCC is next on MAVTV. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Hello and welcome to America's Premier Off-Road Racing Championship, the 2021 Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized, an AM8 National Championship. I'm Rodney Tomlin, and today we are in Millfield, Ohio for the Burr Oaks GNCC, our second stop at Sunday Creek Raceway, and of course a little different feel to the facility as well as the venue itself and race, with the racetrack being a little different. It's being a little different. We had a little different outcome a couple of weeks ago when we were in Beckley, West Virginia for the Mountaineer GNCC. A good strong start for the number 4 of Jared McClure, but Walker Fowler was able to quickly move his way to the front of the pack. Of course, you have McClure back in that number 2 spot, who was going to be a threat, it seemed like, all day long. The players pretty much shuffling into place, but one notable, Hunter Hart, not getting off to the best of starts. One of the last place starts, if not dead last, on board the number 7, as that rider had his work cut out for him in the mountains of West Virginia. And let me tell you, he did go to work as Walker Fowler made his way up front, being challenged all day long, it seemed, by McClure and by the young Devin Feehan, who finally found his flow and groove there in the mountains of West Virginia following the summer break. It could be a whole new show as far as this racing goes if Devin Feehan and Hunter Hart are able to step up to the plate and take Bryson Neal's place throughout the rest of the season. And what does that mean for 2022? I know it excites a lot of folks, but as this day wore on, it was Hunter Hart able to capture the win after a mistake by Walker Fowler there on lap number 4. What a comeback for Hunter Hart after a dead last place start to the front of the pack. And could this signal the coming of a new era in ATV racing? We see Devin Feehan, John Glotta, and Hunter Hart, all new young guns, trying to take the place of Bryson Neal, who will be back in 2022 due to injury. Right now, though, let's check in with Hunter Hart, who took that Mountaineer win.
Sure as heck wasn't that start we had. I think we were dead last there. Nobody blamed but myself for that. We just got pinched at the start, and we just should have been better, you know. After that, I was like, you know, I dug myself this hole, and we're gonna dig ourselves out of it. And we just dug all day, and you know, we were cruising. We kind of were catching guys and just passing them, and then we kind of gap out on them. And I was like, man, we got to be cruising pretty good. And then I caught Dev, and I was kind of doing the numbers in my head of the people that I had passed, and I was like, we've got to be 4th or 5th or so. And then we get into there. And I thought I could see Walker and Jared, and I was like, no, there's no way, those guys are probably gone by now. And then Dev let me by, and we hooked right up together, and we were ripping. And then we ended up catching Walker, and then when they were in the pits, and then we ended up Dev and I basically got together, and I was like, man, this is just like the good old days in XC2 when we'd go like that, and we just basically, Dev and I were able to hook up together. And then I passed Jared. I was right at, Walker had a little gap on us. We come up on Walker. Walker's actually upside down, and I stopped. I yelled if he was okay. He was on his feet by that point, and then we kind of just kept on going, and then the 3 of us were just wheel to wheel after that, and then it was my race to lose at the end there, and just about threw it away a couple of times, just little bobbles on that last lap, but we were able to finally pull it together and put together a good day.
Hunter Hart hoping to make it 2 in a row here today in the home state of Walker Fowler. Fowler going for not only his 67th win, which would tie Bill Balance second in the all-time ATV wins list, but he would also capture his 7th championship. And to do that here in front of the hometown crowd, I know would mean something to Walker Fowler, as the green flag flies on this one. We are off and rolling, and Walker Fowler going to get off to the early lead in this one, grabbing that hole shot. Looks like Cole Richardson on board the number 3. Back in the number 2 position there is Chris Borch in about the number 5 spot. So some key players back in about 6th or 7th place position. We see both Devin Feehan and Hunter Hart, a couple of podium finishers from the Mountaineer GNCC. Out on the trail, Walker Fowler starting to get things put together. There's Cole Richardson, Jared McClure in 3rd. There is Chris Borich up to the number 4 spot. A good solid start for him. I know a lot of folks are hoping to see some big finishes for him and possibly some wins coming up pretty soon as we head down to the starting line for our XC2 Pro-Am class. As the green flag waves on this one, Ronnie Rush going for his first championship in the XC2 Pro-Am class, and Brandon Owens and a few riders going for the early lead and possibly the win here today. This is one of those classes you really never know who's going to win. We got some talent in this one. It's deep, and Ronnie Rush has been very smart this season in finishing a lot of podiums, which has put him in a good position. But one of the fast guys out there on the trail is Brandon Owens, of course, as he is once again opening up to a strong lead, and look like Ronnie Rush back in that number 2 position. So Ronnie's right where he needs to be. I see Grayson Eller about mid-pack there. Eller coming back off of knee injury earlier, well, last season actually, and he got some work done on in the offseason. He's been trying to come back, and he's trying to capture an XC2 Pro-Am championship. It looks like he might be out of the running up for that this year, as we're back up front now. No change up front. There's 4th place Chris Borich, and right behind him the 406 of Devin Feehan in that number 5 spot. A few positions back, about 9th place is the number 7 of Hunter Hart now, and he had himself buried a couple of weeks ago, was able to still come back and take the win with already Devin Feehan up front. You got to wonder, is he going to position himself early again like he did a couple of weeks ago, or will Walker Fowler make history today? Stick around to find out. Coverage of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Series on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized Turbo E-Bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. And by Yamaha, revs your heart. Back in Millfield, Ohio at Sunday Creek Raceway, where we ready ourselves for the early morning WXC race, a women's cross-country event. We see Caitlin Osborne, Hannah Hunter, and there is Alicia McCormick, as these are just a handful of ladies that are readying themselves for the battle. And speaking of a battle, that it was. And, of course, coming out in the end, the 881, trying to take that championship away from Hannah Hunter was Caitlin Osborne. We had a chance to catch up with her and talk to her about her race day.
I'm pretty pumped because this is honestly the hardest track for me on the circuit, so to come out with a win is pretty awesome.
Well, you definitely made it maybe not look easy, but you put in the hard work today, and you led from wire to wire. Did you have any issues out there?
Yeah, I knew that the first and second lap, even though I had like a 15-second gap, when we got to the 3rd and 4th lap, we would hit lappers, and those seconds, they just take away from you each time. So I knew it's going to come down to the end, and I just kind of kept my head down, picked my lines, and rode smart.
Well, Caitlin leading the points right now. Hannah Hunter, your defending champion, finished 2nd place, and the 12-time women's GNCC champion, Tracy Pickens, ended up finishing 3rd. A couple of other names to keep eyes on: Jessica Elioff, Emily Wise, as we head back out onto the racetrack for the afternoon race, where we pick up with Walker Fowler still out in front of this one as we are nearing the completion of lap number 1. Cole Richardson, Jared McClure 2nd and 3rd. Still a hard-charging Chris Borich. There's Devin Feehan still in the number 5 spot. These guys are all still pretty much nose to tail and bumper to bumper, if you will. And when you look back now, doesn't look like Hunter Hart's too far off the pace. But Walker Fowler trying to stretch things out, not really shaking these guys just yet. But if he does, I think we're going to see a little bit different riding out of Walker Fowler, as we'll keep an eye on his line choices versus some of the others' line choices when they can and can't see him. Still no change up front right now. As we mentioned earlier in the show, though, Walker Fowler is looking for win number 67 as well as capturing that 7th championship. So we'll see if he's able to make that happen. Our front 8 guys really seem to be kind of close today, though. I'm not going to give anything even to Walker Fowler just yet. Looking a little further back, got another Yamaha mounted pilot. That is the 712 of John Glotta Jr., who I'm telling you is going to be a name that you're going to recognize if he maintains the pace and growth that we're seeing out of him right now. He will be a factor and a threat for the championship one of these days, and Walker Fowler will be feeling that pressure coming from him, I believe, in the near future. Riders still pretty close together, as even though the 521 of Adam McGill finds himself at the tail end of the pack, he's not out of the running of this one just yet. Some beautiful terrain in the low-lying areas here in Millfield at Sunday Creek Raceway. As you can hear, the fans are really stoked about what's going on. Richardson still holding on to second. McClure in the number 3 spot. Feehan, though, up to the number 4 spot. And Hunter Hart rounding out the top 5 with the 6th place position, the 521 of Adam McGill. Our front 6 are really kind of hanging kind of tight right now as they start to stretch out over the rest of the field. There is Fowler still trying to stretch things out. He's not having much luck out here today, and this has kind of been the tail of the tape the last few rounds of racing for Walker Fowler. But one thing's for certain, as this race wears on, if he can find that one little golden opportunity to sneak away, that's exactly what he's going to do. And you can see he's got some speed. So does the number 3 of Cole Richardson, as Richardson is staying hot on his rear wheel right now, trying to keep him as honest as possible out here on this near 12-mile race course today. I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised that Walker hasn't stretched things out anymore. Traditionally, after a loss like what he suffered a couple of weeks ago, Walker comes out with a fury and a vengeance and tries to put as much distance between himself and the rest of the pack as possible. But I honestly believe that the field is just coming that close together right now that even Walker Fowler in the early part of the race is finding a little bit of discomfort. But as this one wears on, Walker Fowler finding his way here on lap 3 now to the pit area, and this is going to be a 5-lap race as Walker questioning his pit guys. Why did they wait an extra lap to pit him? Well, obvious reasons. They wanted to make sure he had substantial fuel to get to the very end. Still back in that number 2 spot is Cole Richardson. Richardson also stopping for a quick splash of gas. I think everyone's stopping on this lap, but wondering what happened to the number 5 of Chris Borch. Looks like he had some issues. His machine broke down. He's out of this one, and it looks like Jared McClure is out of the running, at least the hunt for a top 5 position right now, as he's having to do a little bit of extra work on his machine. He is not only rider, but he is mechanic as well, so he's a pretty busy boy on race day. He's also Kalen Osborne's mechanic, so that tells you he's keeping real busy on race day. Still Fowler up front, still Richardson in second. Look up the third now. It is Hunter Hart. Maintaining 4th place is the number 406 of Devin Feehan. Feehan falls behind Hunter Hart, but he's still able to maintain position after problems for McClure, dropping out of that top 5 position. Now that should move the 521 of Adam McGill up into the number 5 position. We'll see what happens if we can look a little further back. And there is our 5th place position rider, and it is still the 521 McGill Mafia ride of Adam McGill. Walker Fowler up front, and now a little more by himself. We'll see if he starts using alternate line choices when these guys can't see him around the turns and so forth. And what I mean is riding the track a little bit differently. There you see Hunter Hart doing that, trying to straighten the track out, actually getting up out of the main line, out of the ruts, and even trying to find some smoother racetrack if that's possible. A half second here, a half second there, it all adds up. Now check this area out right here. I'm curious to see what these riders are going to do. Walker Fowler goes left and up the hill, and the other riders go a little further down the trail. They kind of followed each other, if you will, and let's see what Adam McGill. Now this is old school GNCC line choice as opposed to some of these young guns, so they're looking for shorter, smoother ways around the track, and they seem to be finding it. We'll see if it pays any dividends for Adam McGill as much as it has for Walker Fowler. And again, remember, 25 feet off the trail, or if you will, away from the arrows that are posted on the trail. So Walker Fowler is well within the limits of doing what he's doing there. Man, the gap is starting to open up. Here's another different line choice. Let's see if the other riders choose the same lines that Walker Fowler does in this particular section. Now remember, he went to the right, now to the left. Let's see what happens with the rest of the field. They all follow Hunter Hart now around. So again, this is the younger guys as opposed to the older guys. They're looking for those straighter lines, not necessarily the main race line. Now, Hunter does a good job of riding that main race line and finding the smooth part of the trail if you watch how he's riding up out of the ruts and so forth. But it's those line choices that are key and monumental and give riders like Walker Fowler, definitely a huge advantage. And even this rider right here in Adam McGill. McGill, though, really having some struggles keeping that pace, it appears, here with these youngsters in that second, third, and fourth place positions. But he's got company coming in behind him right now, so he's got to pick up the pace just a little bit. I know McClure is trying to sneak back into that top 5. You see how high and to the right side that Walker Fowler rode that line straight up the hill, and you see the different line choice here now by Hunter Hart. He's looking behind him to see where that third place position is. There's Devin Feehan now back in the number 3 spot. And another rider that's really strong at line choice is the number 3 of Cole Richardson, but he's made a couple little mistakes that's dropped him back just a little bit, so I know he's trying to make up for that right now. Here's Walker Fowler all by himself now here on lap number 4, so not as much by himself as what a lot of people might expect him to be at this particular juncture. Look at the battle back for second and third. They have started to close that gap up between them and Walker Fowler as they battle for the number 2 and 3 spots. And look who it is. Once again, it is the number 7 of Hunter Hart and the number 406 of Devin Feehan. Now, these riders, they are certainly accustomed to racing each other, as they have done a lot of that in the Wainoa Series, or the Niowa Series now, the New York Off-Road Association. They grew up together racing like that, and to be able to hook up at the national scene like this, these two feel at home, and that could spell a little bit of trouble for that rider right there, the number 1 of Walker Fowler. He's got win number 67 looming for him today, which will tie him with Bill Balance on the all-time wins record list, and also championship number 7. But look at that, the heat is on, and Walker Fowler finds a way to stretch things out over Hart and Feehan some more in some of these deep wood sections in Millfield, Ohio. Can Walker Fowler hang on to it? Will the young guns dethrone the king today? Stick around to find out. GNCC continues on MAVTV. Coverage of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Series on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized Turbo E-Bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. And by Yamaha, revs your heart. Back in Millfield, Ohio for the closing moments of the battle here as Devin Feehan trying to get around Hunter Hart for that number 2 position on the podium. They are a little ways back of Walker Fowler, who has pretty much dialed this one in, but look at the speeds that Feehan has going on right now as he is putting the pressure on his fellow New Yorkers. He tries to pull up side by side the number 7 of Hart, and look at that, the pass being made. Can he make it stick? And it looks like he will as they drop back into another wooded section. It's going to be a little tougher to make some passes. Now, this particular area might not be so bad because it's kind of open heading in, but it also looks kind of dry. We might see some dust kicked up there, but man, the conditions today are near perfect. But look at that hard pack that we're starting to see. You're actually starting to see it blue groove a little bit out there, which means it's getting slick in areas as well. Devin Feehan seems to be comfortable now in that number 2 spot as Hunter Hart still back there in the number 3 position. They haven't really stretched things out much over Cole Richardson, as Richardson still within striking distance of a podium today, so this one isn't over just yet. And it's not over up front either, as Feehan is now caught up to Walker Fowler as they are battling now for that number 1 position, and Feehan is right on the rear grab bar of Fowler as they make their way into the closing moments of this Burr Oak GNCC. Feehan might have a chance to beat Walker Fowler straight up, and talk about some grand bragging rights. He would certainly have those as we are into the final sections and the final few turns. Can Fowler hang on to it? And it looks like Feehan trying to sneak one in, but not going to be able to make it happen. One more turn to go, and Walker Fowler makes history here today. Win number 67, tying himself with Bill Balance on the all-time wins record list at 2nd, and claiming championship number 7 as Mark Notman, his faithful mechanic, waves that jersey at him, and Walker Fowler can finally take a sigh of relief as far as this championship is concerned. One I'm sure that is going to certainly stand out amongst a number of the championships that he's won.
I look back and I didn't see yellow, and I'm like, man, it's either Hunter got really dirty or there's another Yamaha, and I knew Cole was on his white bike, and I'm like, all right, it's either Devin or Glada. And Glada usually wears a weird helmet, and I'm like, man, if that's Devin Feehan, that is weird. Like, and I mean, he was all over me and using different lines, and I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna be so happy when this is over. And I knew if I could hold him off with about 3/4 of a mile to go, there wasn't anywhere to pass, and unless I made a mistake. And man, I hit that point, and I was just like, all right, just get to the top of the hill, get across the side here, don't hit any trees, don't do nothing stupid, bring it home for number 7, win number 67. We tie Bill Balance today in my home state of Ohio. Bunch of friends and family here, and a bunch of friends and family at home that couldn't make it either. But like, it's always really cool to win these things, but it's also a huge relief. But it's really pleasant to be rewarded for all the hard work and the dedication and the long nights and the long days, and it's tough for sure. And I'm so pumped right now. So thank you guys.
A well-deserved celebration for Walker Fowler, and I'm sure that Devin Feehan is probably celebrating in his own way today with a second-place position finish, tracking down Walker Fowler the way he did.
Yeah, it was, had to be patient with this one. Just had to keep the leaders in sight, and rode with Hunter all day, which was really fun. We kept it, nice and close, which is exciting. So, man, just super thankful to get up here again. A lot of hard work, so got to thank my family and all of the sponsors that helped make it happen.
Great kid, no doubt. Got a lot of heart. Devin Feehan on the podium for a second straight race, and Cole Richardson rounding out the podium in that third-place position. Hart, a good, strong ride in fourth, and a solid ride by Adam McGill. And Jared McClure, after his issues, was still able to hang on to a sixth-place position.
We got off to a good start. This bike's been firing really good, and we felt really good running behind Walker there. He gapped me a little bit. I felt like we were both a little bit faster on different parts of the track, and then I don't know what happened. Kind of started to lose rear brakes there. I went to push them, and nothing was there. And Hunter and Devin were riding really well, caught up to me, and just couldn't, get the bike pivoted on some lines there, and they got around me, and I just made a few mistakes. And then kind of after I pitted, I just tried to ride the rear brakes a little bit and see if they'd come back. They finally came back, and at that point, it was like, I don't know how far back we were, but just kind of slowly and steadily reeled those guys in, and ended up here.
Well, as we take a look at the race recap, and by the way, if that number 3 gets it figured out, Cole Richardson is going to be a major force to be reckoned with, as he has been one of the biggest thorns in the side of Walker Fowler for many, many years. And as we open this race up, Fowler getting off to a strong start, had the Cole train right behind him in second. Then it was McClure, followed by Chris Borge, then Devin Feehan. And way back there, the number 7 of Hunter Hart, who had another strong ride today, even though he just finished off the podium. This one was tight through the first couple of laps. It took about 3 laps before Walker Fowler could really put any distance between himself and the rest of the field. Meantime, Hunter Hart had worked his way up from a 8th place position all the way up into a 4th place position as he gets around the 406 of Devin Feehan. And this is the pass that really moved things forward, I think, for Devin Feehan as he gets around Hunter Hart for 2nd place position and pretty much laid in chase to Walker Fowler. And this is what it looked like the last couple of miles. As Walker Fowler stated, he felt the pressure all the way and was just looking for this moment right here. If he could get here and get across the road, things are going to be okay for the win, or he should be able to hold him off. And he does, but of course, Feehan did take a couple of last-ditch efforts, couldn't make it happen, but Walker Fowler rolls into the history books once again here in Ohio. And Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania's Ronnie Rush captures the championship in the XC2 as Walker Fowler wraps up number 7 in the XC1. Be sure and join us next time as Walker Fowler goes for win number 68 and the battle heats up for the number 2 plate for 2022. I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day.